Hey friends, what's up? Philip here with Points of Philip, and I'm actually here because there's a card that I really love that has insane new reason for being in my wallet. So we're going to be talking about the Mesa Homeowner Credit Card and why it's back in my wallet in kind of a big way. But before we do that, I want to ask you guys to like and subscribe. Doing that helps me and YouTube know that what I'm doing is helpful for people like you. And in turn, that actually makes more people able to view the content. So I really would appreciate that. So now that that's out of the way, let's get into the Mesa card and first of all, what it is and why it's in my wallet moving forward. So first of all, the Mesa card is really interesting. We'll get into how interesting in a little bit, but I've held this card for a number of months now, since May, and I got the card actually before there was a sign-up bonus. So they did have a sign-up bonus very briefly up for about 50,000 points. And I forgot exactly how much the spend was, but I did not get that sign-up bonus. Some of my friends did that I referred to the card. But I really do love the card, but it now has a referral bonus of with a spending requirement of $10,000 to earn 50,000 points if you spend that 10,000 in the first 3 months or in the next 3 months. And so how this works is, first of all, in order to be able to qualify for this offer, you have to have the card, and then you have to be able to refer at least 2 people to the card, and then they will actually unlock this 50,000 point spending bonus. And so it's kind of weird and convoluted, but that's pretty much everything Mesa is. So we're going to get into kind of, well, how that's changing my strategy. But first of all, I want to get into kind of the nitty gritty, the lowdown on what makes the Mesa Homeowner card, well, worth keeping in my wallet. So first of all, it has no annual fee, right? So this is huge. Second of all, it gets you 1 point per dollar on your mortgage payment. Now, this is based off of your full mortgage payment. So if you have escrow, then that's going to be essentially 1x back on top of your property insurance, your property taxes, things like that, which actually may kind of hurt you with this card, because if you actually were to be able to separate that out and just pay your property taxes separate, it's possible you get 3 points per dollar on this card. So it has the 1 point per dollar on your mortgage. Now, you don't actually have to use this card to pay your mortgage payment. Instead, what happens is you actually have to upload a picture of a screenshot of your mortgage statement, and then that's how many points they give you. I've heard some people say that they haven't been asked, and so it seems like they're kind of going through individually and targeting people to double check. But some people have told me they've been able to say kind of whatever they think their mortgage payment is, they've been able to get those points. Although I don't know if that's going to continue, because once again, I was asked to verify my mortgage payment. So your mileage may vary on that front. But I've got to stop talking about this because, well, I want to talk about our sponsor. And that's Points with Philip. So I'm really excited to tell you guys that I've actually started offering the opportunity to have sit down kind of either a mini session or a full session where we actually discuss your credit cards and kind of where you want to go in life with credit cards. So I can give one-on-one opportunities. If you would like to learn more about that, there's a link in the description below, and that'll take you to kind of our store where you can actually peruse kind of what the options are. And then you can also sign up for our newsletter that goes out every Friday morning. All right, back to the rest of the video. In addition to that, you get 2 points per dollar on groceries, gas, and EV charging. And so that's really solid. And then you also get 3 points per dollar on any home improvement purchase, decor purchase. So kind of like those home decor stores like Kirkland's, or like even like, home, those kind of stores will get 3% or 3 points per dollar back. Then you get maintenance. So my pool guy gives me 3% back, and a whole bunch of other things. And utilities. So utilities is huge because my power bill, my water bill, my home insurance, my property taxes, they all get 3% back. It's amazing, right? Okay, so then you get, essentially that's kind of the big deal, and 1% back on everything else. Now, so no annual fee, right? But it has a coupon book as well. So because there's no annual fee, this coupon book is pretty much all gravy, right? And so let's take a look. So you get $120 annually to Lowe's, and that comes in the form of $30 every quarter. And so, well, I used my first quarter on actually the paint to paint this room. It used to be, well, a different color. I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember exactly what it was, but we use $30 to go towards that paint. And then for the most recent quarter, we actually used to get an edge trimmer for my front yard. And so, I definitely didn't cover the cost of that, but it's something I needed to buy anyway. Got $30 off of it just by holding the Mesa Homeowner card. Now, it also has $65 annual statement credit for Costco. Now, this is an interesting change because a couple months ago, when I first opened the card, it was labeled a big box store credit. And so this credit essentially went towards if you bought a big box store membership for, like, say, Costco or Sam's, or even I think BJ's if you're one of those people. But anyway, it's specifically now geared towards Costco. In fact, actually, they advertise it as Costco. I got an email saying, please don't forget to use your Costco benefits. Anyway, interestingly enough, it only earns 1x back on any Costco purchase, even groceries or gas or even the liquor store in Costco. Each of them earned 1 point per dollar for me. So hopefully your mileage may vary on that, but I wouldn't expect to use this as your Costco card for anything other than just paying for that annual fee or that, the membership dues. Okay, so let's focus up on some other things. You also get the $120 annual WAG credit. And so this is on-demand pet care. So some friends of mine, they traveled to Atlanta and they stayed at the Kimpton there, and they were actually able to they paid WAG, and there was a WAG dog walker came to walk their dog while they were away. And so that's kind of a nice little service. You get $120 off of that. In addition, you also get $120 off of the farmer's dog credit, and this is $10 every month. We always actually, I think ours is almost every other month that we buy our dog food from Farmer's Dog, and so it's kind of expensive, but it's the kind where it's like it comes in a little baggie, it comes in frozen, you got to heat it up, give it to your dog, and it actually looks like real food inside it. So if you're someone who's going to spend that much on dog food anyway, then this could be helpful. It also has a Armadillo home warranty credit of $100, which I probably won't be doing that. And then the Cozy Earth credit, which, to be perfectly honest, I haven't looked into yet. And so I probably should if I'm going to do a video about it. But it's the point is that with this coupon book, because it's no annual fee, you can pretty much just choose whatever you want to use right now. So the Lowe's credit and the Costco credit have been really kind of huge for me. And so getting that free Costco membership is really solid. So now you can earn the points, right? So 3 points per dollar on a wide range of things, including daycare. I don't think I mentioned that before. Daycare gets 3 points per dollar on the Mesa card. And so, well, that's really just so amazing. That just the benefits of earning that much is incredible. A friend of mine is in property management, and she uses it for like home maintenance expenses, and it's amazing. It's a point earning machine, specifically if you do have homeowner related expenses. And so, like if you have a lawn guy, that would be 3 points per dollar. Contractor who's helping you redo your kitchen, that could be 3 points per dollar. The whole 9 yards. Now, this actually gets a whole lot better. So Mesa also has, if they're targeting the state that you live in, and to be fair, there's only a few of states that they're actually in, they do have kind of a mortgage refinancing kind of portal. So you can either buy a home and pay for the mortgage through the Mesa program, or you can also, refinance your home. And then if you do that, you actually get 1 point per dollar for the entire cost of your home that you refinance. And so if we refinanced for $300,000 on our home, we would get 300,000 points transferred to our Mesa account. Now, you do specifically have to go through their portal and work with their partners. But, if that's something that's interesting to you, it's definitely worth considering because, well, 300,000 points could be a decent chunk off. But you have to definitely check to see, if that actually makes sense for you. So Mesa is awesome. Now let's get into what you can do with these points. So these points are interesting. So they do have transfer partners, which we'll get into in a minute. But you can, first of all, always redeem your points for a statement credit, but I definitely wouldn't recommend doing that because you only get 0.6 cents per point, which is very similar to American Express. If you just have like a basic card with American Express, you can get 0.6 cents per point, and that's it. They do have it where you can redeem it for gift cards, but that's not a whole lot better. And they do have an interesting thing where you can redeem your points for mortgage. And so this is an interesting idea, and that so you can actually cash out your points to a bank account at zero point 0.8 cents per point. So a little bit better than the than the zero point 0.6 cents per point. And presumably this is for you to use for your mortgage. However, I don't think there's a whole lot of back end kind of verification of that. And so, you may need to kind of consider whether or not, you actually need to use it for your mortgage. And so you can cash out your points at 0.8 cents per point directly to a bank account. And so that can be helpful, but you really want to be interested more in the Mesa transfer partner. So let's take a look at what they are. So they have one hotel partner and a couple of kind of weird airline partners. And so the Accor Live Limitless is a hotel program primarily in Europe and in Canada. And they have a couple of different hotel properties, specifically Fairmonts. So those are really popular. There's a couple in Canada that are really nice. There's one in Washington, D.C. that actually my wife and I would pretty much love to stay at. And, and this is a really interesting program. They do have other hotels, like in Louisville, there's something called a 21C downtown. That's actually pretty nice. It has a little art kind of museum in the lobby. And, it's an interesting eclectic hotel. Now you can transfer these at a 3-to-2 ratio. And so basically, you transfer 1,000 Mesa points, you get, less than 1,000 ALL points, but each ALL point is worth 2 euro cents towards your booking. So that can be super helpful if you're trying to kind of use these points to subsidize your international stay. So this can be super nice. Now, one of the things I do love about the Accor Live Limitless program is that it's actually really solid as a earner. So if you actually book any hotels overseas through this program, you earn, I think it's 5 points per dollar on that hotel stay. But more importantly, and here's the kicker, you can transfer those ALL points 1-to-1 for Air France. And so if you're actually staying at these hotels overseas and you're earning those 5 points per dollar, you can actually just transfer them 1-to-1 to Air France. And that way you can actually use them for business class seats back home. And so, that can be really, really solid. So that's kind of an interesting program. And, we could honestly do a whole video on this program because there's a lot of ways to exploit it. But, that's for another day, I guess. Now, the airfare things are, we have Aeromexico at 1-to-1. Now, this is less favorable than the one with American Express, which is 1-to-1.6. And then we have Air Canada, which is also 1-to-1. Air India, which may not sound as good, but it actually could be pretty interesting. Cathay Pacific at 1-to-1 as well. Finnair at 1-to-1, and this is an Avios program, so that's really solid. And then Hainan Airlines Fortune Wings Club, that's again 1-to-1. Scandinavian Airlines Euro Bonus, so SAS, is 1-to-1, and this is huge. So if you're someone who's trying to travel to Europe without having to pay those fees and taxes to travel through London Heathrow, SAS could be a good way to get there if you're trying to save on points. There's also Thai Royal Airways, that's 1-to-1 as well, and Vietnam Airlines Lotus Miles, again at 1-to-1. So I'm going to focus just primarily on two aspects of these options. So we're going to focus first on Cathay Pacific. So let's go ahead and let's pop in here. And there we go. Okay, so we're at Cathay Pacific. And what I want to do is I want to focus on redeeming a flight award. We're going to look at from JFK. Let's see, let's go to Heathrow. So LHR. So Cathay Pacific is, first of all, in the same agreement with Alaska and American Airlines and with British Airways. And so you can actually let's do business. We're going to do business, one adult, just to do it one way. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to have to do it again. All right. Business, one adult, departing. We're going to go as far out in advance because Cathay, the further out, the better. There is some space that opens up soon, but let's take a look at Wednesday the 2nd, see if we have any space of opening up. So we're going to go ahead and search these flights. Okay, so if you take a look, we can see from 58,000. And so what you can see, take a look at the fare difference here, cancellation fee of US dollar $120 or 17,000 kind of miles. So let's take a look here. You can book from, so this is one stop here. Let's see if there's any others that are no stops. There we go. Okay. So we have some direct flights here on Monday. Let's see, August 31st of 2026. And so this is a business class seat on British Airways. And you can see a bunch of different options, and we can see some for 63,000 points per person. And so it seems like there's a decent amount. And so this is Hong Kong 1738, which is actually significantly cheaper in US dollars than if you were to book this flight directly through British Airways. And so if you're someone who's interested in business class seats, this is a great way to get there on British Airways. Now, I know that some people don't really care for British Airways business class seats, but I haven't personally flown it before, and so I'm really interested in doing that. So we're going to do a new search because I want to show you the option to do for first class. So we're going to take a look at first class and see how much those would be. So we're going to go back over to August. Let's do August 31st. It looks like there was some award space for that. So we're going to go ahead and search this flight. Okay, so we can see that there's limited availability in first class, but you can see that if there were availability for 100,000 Cathay miles per person per seat. So the idea that we could travel in British Airways in first class is pretty insane, and the cost would again be substantially lower than if we were traveling in British Airways. So if we were going to book through Alaska Airlines for that same seat, we would be taking a look at something that would be, well, a lot more expensive. It'd be close to $1,000 in fees per person per seat, and that's just business class. So this is a huge savings. Now, what I want to do next is I want to take a look at Air India. So Air India is kind of a weird one in that you don't really expect to get much value. I certainly want to fly in Air India directly, but let's take a look at what our options are. So I'm going to go from one way, and I'm going to go ahead and make sure points is there. So I'm going to take a look at MCO. And then we're going to travel to Dulles. So I know that this is a great way to book United, and I'm going to show that here by taking a look at Dulles. And then so it's one way. So we're going to go out a couple of months. So we're going to take a look at December 9th, pay with points. Let's take a look. There we go. Okay, so we're taking a look at direct flights from Washington or from Orlando to Dulles at 5,500 points on Air India. And so this is on United Metal. So if you take a look here, United Airlines, 2 hours, 212. And then so basically Boeing 737 MAX 9. And so this is on a United flight, and it's 5,000 Air India points. And so that is really solid. So you have a couple different options, right? If you wanted to earn these points, you can do it with Air India for United flights domestically. And of course, it is awarded space, so it could be a little bit limiting sometimes, but it's a solid option. There's also Cathay Pacific, but there's also Air Canada Aeroplane is really solid, easy to use. Finnair gets you access to Avios, which again is very relatively easy to use. And so there are a decent number of ways to use these points, but you do need to be kind of deliberate about what your plans are. So basically, because now I have the 50,000 point thing for $10,000 in spend over 3 months, my plan is to put as many purchases as I can on my Mesa Homeowner card, because essentially basically these extra points will help me when my wife and I are trying to book a trip to Edinburgh next year. And so that's kind of where we're at. And so that's why I'm going to be spending a lot more of my spend on this moving forward. So anyway, thanks so much for joining me. And well, I can't wait to see you guys until next time. Bye.